Hi, Chad with Purple Collar Life. You can see I'm here with the International Cub Cadet 149 hydrostatic. And when I bought this tractor, hopefully you've already seen a video of me kind of revealing this new tractor to the channel, new to us. But when I bought it, I knew there was an issue. It looks pretty good, but it doesn't run very good. And I'm hoping the issue is something with the carburetor. So I've ordered the carburetor. I'm going to try to replace that today because the tractor will not run unless the choke is pulled out at least halfway. And then if you put any load on it, like trying to run the mower deck, it just totally bogs down and cuts out. So today's project is to go ahead and take the air filter off, take the carburetor off, put the new carb on, and see if that helps it. Now, if you're not familiar with how these hoods open, if they're still original like this one is, there's a little latch like this on both sides of the hood that you lift up and pull out. And then it kind of drops down, and that lets you lift the hood. The original owner put a new air filter on that was bigger than the original. So I actually bought one of the original air filters to replace what he's got on here because I don't like this not being fully covered and protected by the air filter shroud here. So that's just a wing nut that comes off. There's that extra long air filter. And it looks like that's just screwed on with an extension, so I'm going to grab a wrench and pull that off. Actually, it was a really good idea of a way to add an extension on to put the bigger filter on, but I don't think we need the bigger filter. The gas tank does have a shut-off valve, so we're going to go ahead and close that. And we're going to remove these two screws that hold the air filter cover in place. There's actually 3 screws, one here on the top also. Now we'll just check choke functionality here. When I pull out the choke, it is closing off the carburetor, so that seems to be working as it should. Here's the new carburetor. So my plan is, as we take things off, to remember where everything goes so that we can put it back together the same way. And that looks like the same carburetor. Loosen up that hose clamp, and might still be some gas in there, so I have a little bottle here. Now we're going to need this little connection on the new carburetor, so we might as well remove it. It is a 7/16, and that's where the fuel enters the carburetor. So when we remove the carburetor, we'll be able to pull this choke cable out. Now I'm just wondering about the cable that goes down here, the throttle cable that also goes to the governor. Looks like on this tractor, it's actually attached with a little wire. That was an interesting connection system. And then the carburetor is actually bolted on with a 1/2-inch bolt. It's a little bit difficult to get to. It does have a screwdriver end on it. Makes loosening it up much easier. So there's our existing carburetor. Now I'm not sure how to tell if that's the original one or not. But I do have a guy nearby who rebuilds these. So I'm going to take this down to him, have him rebuild this if he thinks it's the original carburetor, so that I can put the original back on once it's in good working order. So I've got the old carburetor here as a reference. I'm going to build the pieces to the new one so that it's the same. So I've got this bar at an angle, and then I'm guessing this little nut goes on first, kind of like a jam nut. I'll try to get it lined up at the same position that the other one was at. Put this on. And this goes over that ball. And this clips down over top of it. So that looks like it's all lined up the same as the other one was. I did discover a difference between these two carburetors. This one is closed when this is all the way down and the tab is up here, open when the tab is upright like that. This one is closed when the tab's clear over here and upright when the tab is down. So my connection isn't working right. I'm going to see if I can take these two screws out, flip this around somehow, and if that solves my problem. So I'll give you a little update here because I think it's as important to know what doesn't work as is what does work. And here's the old carburetor, and I mentioned that choke flap is in the up position when open and like that when closed. And I thought maybe I could take these little screws out and rotate that around so this one will work the same way, but it can't do that because there's a flat spot here and there's a bevel in the rod that makes it click open and close in position. So this carburetor I bought cheaply off of Amazon, I think it was $22, will not work on my Cub Cadet 149, and I think that's good information for you to know. This is the ROP Shop Rugged Outdoor Products 100757. This carburetor will not work on your Cub Cadet 149. So I'm going to put all the pieces back in here, send this back to Amazon, and I'll take this other old carburetor down the road to the guy who rebuilds them, see if he can rebuild this and identify it, see if it's the correct carburetor. When I was moving some things around here, I noticed a loose connection right here, and this is what goes back to the generator starter. You can see the tab's broken off. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pull that off and replace it with one of these down over that bolt. Maybe that'll help. Might put the carburetor back on here, see if that solves our problem. I have a whole bin of different connectors like this that I keep in the camper, but I steal from it as necessary for here in the garage. Now that may have nothing to do with the problem we were having, but it certainly will help to have a good connection there. I noticed my amp meter gauge was flicking up and down, and this may have been the cause of that. This little nut that's on top of the ignition coil is an 11/32. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on, just see if that had anything to do with the issue. While we're here, we'll go ahead and replace that spark plug. Yeah, that's pretty carved up. This is a Champion. It says H10C. I do have in stock an H10C, which is what came out. Put just a little dab of dielectric grease on the top. Let's go ahead and give it a try here. So that did not fix our issue. We'll take that carburetor back off, run it down to the guy down the road. But I'm gonna go ahead and move this back out of the way because I can't leave it here where the car has to park. Well, that didn't get to be the It's Fixed video that I had hoped it would be, but we did learn that the carburetor from Amazon will not work on this tractor. So if you've got one like this, keep that in mind. It's better to rebuild the old carburetor than to try to find one on Amazon. As you can see, the tractor's running good now. Carburetor's on, air filter's on, all buttoned up. I had to contact, there's a Cub Cadet guy just down the road from our house. He rebuilt that carburetor for me. I brought it back, put it in. It still was leaking gas all over the place and wasn't running right. So I actually called him and said, hey, can you just come up to my house? He came up this morning. He had another spare carburetor with him. We switched the carburetors out and it's running great now. He also showed me how to reconnect the choke correctly. We went all around the tractor, give it a good look, and he said he thought everything was in good condition. So happy with this Cub 149 hydrostatic. Not sure exactly what we'll do with it in the future, but I think it's a great tractor. These are getting harder and harder to find, especially in shape like this. Thanks for watching. If you like videos like this, give us a thumbs up, comment down below, share it with your friends, and we'll see you the next time.